She was a young woman looking to strike out on her own.
She was just ready to live life.
They were the couple that opened up their door and their hearts to her.
She was trusting, she was innocent, she was protected.
They all seemed like the best of friends, until a startling discovery sparked a desperate search.
They had no body, they had nothing. They just knew, here's blood on the parking lot floor.
As the manhunt unfolded, investigators wondered, is this an innocent friendship or a twisted threesome built on infidelity, lies, and cold-blooded murder?
This rage is building up.
She was experimenting with her sexuality.
She would meet people online and talk to them and just go meet them.
The person that did this to this victim was angry. They wanted this person out of their life permanently.
Monday, November 17th, 2008, 8:30 a.m. The property manager at a Herndon, Virginia apartment complex is walking through the building's parking garage when a shocking sight stops him dead in his tracks.
He noticed a puddle of blood and blood stain all over the garage floor, which kind of alerted him that something is not right, and he calls the police.
Within minutes, officers arrive at the scene.
The blood stains, the puddle of blood, something went wrong. That was foul play there.
But aside from the blood evidence, police don't have much else to go on.
They had no body, they had nothing. They just knew, here's blood on the parking lot floor.
170 to dispatch. Start supervisor, crime lab, and on-call investigator, please.
Officers call for backup and request the assistance of their CSI team.
They start going through every tooth and nail pertaining to how this evidence got here, who it could belong to, and what happened to the person whose blood was found. Is that person still alive?
As police fan out across the garage, it isn't long before they notice something else.
We have a blood stain on the garage floor that leads to this dumpster.
The trash that day was supposed to have been picked up. However, the individuals had not gotten there yet, so they were able to secure the trash from the dumpster.
Detectives may have caught a break, but finding evidence in an overflowing dumpster is no easy task.
The trash compactor has to be combed through piece by piece. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. You have no clue as to what you're looking for.
Sorting through the pile of garbage, investigators make a chilling discovery.
Inside that dumpster, a lot of personal objects was found, such as a mobile phone, key fob, and articles of clothing.
And what do you do with a cell phone? You start checking the numbers and see who it belongs to.
There's a lot of calls from this one number yesterday. I'm gonna call it back, see who it is.
And the person on the other side of this phone call will spark an investigation into a twisted web of love and deceit, all surrounding one woman. 22-year-old Erica Yancey. Born in Michigan City, Indiana in 1986, Erica Yancey was a bright and loving child, but sadly, her early life was marred by tragedy.
Erica's father was murdered.
In the eyes of her family, Erica became a very special child.
We all kind of gathered around, and as they say in the Western, we circled the wagons to protect Erica.
She was the apple of my eye. You always protected your last child, and I didn't consider her a grandchild. I considered her my child.
Growing up, Erica worked hard at her studies, graduated high school, and in 2005, she jumped at an offer to move in with her aunt in the D.C. area, and soon landed a job handling baggage at Dulles International Airport.
Erica ended up being the first woman with that company that drove one of the tugs, that bus that moves the plane into place.
As aggressive as Erica was about her job, she was even more excited to be living in a place as diverse and open-minded as Metro D.C.
She went buck wild. She got into this different alternative lifestyle. She decided that she was gay. She cut off all of her hair. She got piercings. She got tattoos.
I figured that was just a stage everybody went through. She did what she wanted to do, but she became her own person. And she was a lovely person.
Erica also bought a new car, a silver 2007 Hyundai. It was her pride and joy, a sign of her newfound freedom and mobility.
Once she got the car, you can see her just like a little bird getting her wings and just ready to do things.
Erica also started surfing the net, meeting new friends and new love interests in online chat rooms.
She would meet people online and talk to them and just go meet them.
She informed us that she had met a friend that lived in New York. And my sister Paige and I found out about it, and we told her, over our dead bodies, are you going? And of course, she went.
During the trip, Erica found a new lover and a new responsibility.
I found out that Erica, like the young lady that she met in New York, we found out that Erica was sending her money because she had kids. She wanted to help those people that had less than she did.
It wouldn't be the only young woman that Erica fell for online. While Erica was seeing the young woman in New York, she met Ellen Parker.
Erica and Ellen met on an online site, and in the course of chatting online, they discovered that they worked very near to each other.
But unlike her previous online connection, Erica and Ellen's relationship wasn't physical. Ellen was heterosexual and was living with her boyfriend, Marcus Williams, with whom she had a lovely child.
Ellen Phillips and Marcus Williams were an item. They had an apartment together.
Pregnant with their second child, Ellen and Marcus had their share of problems, from a lack of quality childcare to occasional cash flow issues. But ever the giving soul, Erica was glad to help out any way possible, which allowed her to do a good deed while strengthening her relationship with Ellen.
I can remember telling her, you know, Erica, that's not something that you really want to get involved in. But because she was such a caring person, she got involved.
In fact, Ellen and Erica grew so close that when Ellen gave birth, Erica was right by her side at the hospital.
She called it her baby. So, Mom, I'm gonna see you a picture of my baby when you get a baby. Then she said, no, it's my friend's baby.
In September 2008, Ellen, Marcus, and their two children moved into a cozy 3-bedroom apartment near the airport. Soon after that, they invited Erica to come live with them. And though her biological family had no idea what to make of Erica's living arrangement or her continued relationship with her lover in New York, the 22-year-old felt she was living the life of her dreams.
She was off on her own for the first time and don't know whether to go blind or bark at the moon.
But Erica Yancey's dream takes a deeply disturbing turn on November 17, 2008. It starts when investigators are called to an apartment complex in suburban D.C., the same apartment complex where Erica, Ellen, and Marcus recently moved in. They've been asked to investigate a bloody trail that leads from the parking garage to a nearby dumpster. Searching the dumpster, they find several personal items, including a cell phone. As CSIs continue their search, detectives review the phone's incoming call log. It seems someone had repeatedly called this phone the day before. Dialing the number, they connect with Jacqueline Goodall.
Hi, this is Detective John with the police department. We found this phone near a crime scene and was trying to determine whose phone it was.
A crime scene?
My number came up on her phone.
Jacqueline's surprised to hear an unfamiliar voice calling from this phone. It's registered to her favorite niece, 22-year-old Erica Yancey, who lives in the apartment complex where the phone was found.
We didn't know where Erica was. We couldn't reach her. And I received a call. They found the cell phone. They found clothes that were bloody. And that's when he began to explain to me that they saw a lot of blood.
A lot of blood? What do you mean a lot of blood?
Ma'am, there's actually quite a bit.
Is it so much blood that she might not be alive?
It's a terrifying proposition, one that opens a floodgate of other possibilities. Is there a connection between the trail of blood and the personal items detectives found in the trash? Has Erica been the victim of a violent attack? If so, where is she now? While Erica's family holds out hope, detectives race to answer these questions. But little do they know, the case is about to take a dark and deeply sinister turn. "22-year-old Erica Yancey discovered newfound freedom when she moved into an apartment in Herndon, Virginia, with her online acquaintance turned best friend, Ellen Parker, and Ellen's boyfriend, Marcus Williams.
They connected with each other and realized that they had a lot in common. They basically worked in the same area, and the friendship struck up from there.
It seemed like a friendship destined to last forever. But on November 17, 2008, Erica suddenly disappeared. And all that's left behind is a trail of blood in her parking garage, leading to a dumpster filled with her personal belongings.
They find the blood, they want to search the trash to see if something's in there.
They went in piece by piece, bag by bag, and collected whatever evidence, but then, of course, you got to separate the garbage from the evidence. And that is very hard to do.
It's a process that also takes time, something investigators and Erica's family know is in very short supply.
We didn't know where Erica was or how she was. I thought she was somewhere laying in a ditch someplace.
Detectives are eager to interview Erica's roommates, Marcus Williams and his girlfriend, Ellen Parker.
We'd like to ask you a couple of questions.
What is this about?
Well, we believe someone abducted and attacked Erica Yancey.
Okay, all right, come in.
According to best friend Ellen, the last time she saw her roommate was the day before.
The morning of November 16, Erica and Ellen get up, and Erica drives Ellen to work at her place of business near Dulles Airport. They had one car that they were sharing. It was Erica's car. And so Ellen expected that Erica would go back home, maybe go back to sleep.
Well, basically, I made her lunch for her, and she gave me a ride to work, and she told me that she would give me a call later on, and I just didn't hear anything from her the whole day.
She never received a telephone call at work that day, which she thought was a little unusual. It wasn't anything major. But Ellen continued by saying that throughout the entire day, she never heard anything from Erica.
Ellen says that following her shift, she had a coworker drive her home. Erica's car wasn't in the parking garage, which seemed a bit out of the ordinary. And when Ellen set foot inside the apartment, something else caught her eye.
The first thing she recognized is that the lunch that she had made for Erica had not been eaten or touched. So she began wondering, well, what could have happened to Erica?
Ellen figured, well, Erica must be off visiting her family, and I'll talk to her at some point.
Detectives also question Ellen's boyfriend, Marcus Williams, who confirms that after Erica drove Ellen to work, she never returned to their apartment.
So you didn't see her the rest of the day?
I've been here watching the kids all day. I haven't seen her since this morning.
After a search of the residence, police find no sign of Erica, nor do they find signs of foul play. It appears the couple's version of events is accurate. So what happened to Erica, and where is she now?
Maybe somebody had robbed her, or somebody had took her car, that she had fought him, that she had gotten hurt.
I thought she was carjacked, yeah. I thought somebody was trying to rob her.
That's not the only theory being floated.
So she just started experimenting with her life.
Maybe she met someone online, and that situation ended up being a terrible situation.
As the investigation shifts into high gear, Erica's mother flies to Virginia from her home in Indiana.
They're still looking for her. They had the news cast everywhere. I was on the news telling them just to let her come home.
But just days after the televised plea, officers make a huge discovery.
An officer observed a car fitting the description of the missing car.
The car is parked in the handicap zone of an industrial parking lot. The officer runs the tags, and confirms it's Erica's car.
Investigators looked inside the car and noticed there was a body partially covered in the back seat.
Erica is lying in the back seat on the floor.
For Erica's family, it's a gut-wrenching turn of events.
Calling my mom was the hardest thing that I've ever done because Erica was her baby.
I was angry, like anybody. I wanted to really get to the person.
As Erica's family grapples with this tragedy, police know a stone-cold killer remains at large. And soon clues from the crime scene will fuel new speculation as to what may have happened to the young woman almost everyone adored. On November 19, 2008, the frantic search for missing 22-year-old Erica Yancey came to a grim end when police found her body in the back of her car.
She had been stabbed several other places on the body, but the main wound was a serious throat slit.
You can't do that to somebody. You don't do that to somebody. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for violence like that.
Erica's car is parked at a business a half a mile away from her apartment complex. As investigators examine the gory scene, it's obvious Erica had put up the fight of her life.
Multiple stab wounds to her body, a lot of stab wounds on the backside of her hands.
Anytime you might see wounds to the hand, elbows, and arms, those are defensive wounds. You know, someone's getting stabbed, they're putting their arms up and stuff, trying to stop the blows from coming.
Searching the crime scene, CSIs locate what appears to be the murder weapon, buried in a potted plant beside the car.
The apparent murder weapon, the box cutter, was found with Erica's blood on it.
After tagging the evidence, the next question for investigators is what may have sparked this violent encounter. Judging by the nature of Erica's wounds, the robbery angle seems like an unlikely motive.
On a street robbery, you won't have a victim receiving so many stab wounds. The assailant wants to just go in, do what they gotta do, and leave. Erica had a significant wound underneath her neck from the left side to the right side. The type of person that will cause that type of injury to another person is a person who's passionate.
The possibility that Erica may have known her assailant is a chilling thought. But just how had her body wound up here?
They sliced her neck, put her body in the car, and then they drove her body off about a half mile away from where she lived.
Detectives decide it's time to take a closer look at Erica's personal relationships. Could her killer be one of the many women she'd allegedly wooed on the internet?
When you meet people in cyberspace, you only meet what they want you to meet.
Erica's hardest thing was trusting. She trusted everybody and believed everybody.
Speaking to Erica's family again, one love interest rises to the top of the suspect list.
She was seeing somebody in New York and she's doing this, and she's just going out being all kind of just gallivanting around, just having a good old time.
What can you tell us about this woman?
Well, I don't know that much about her, but really seemed to like her a lot.
I think she was mixed up about her relationships.
To police, it seems they may have finally found a motive that fits the crime. Could Erica's lover in New York be jealous about her other girlfriends or her unique relationship with Ellen and Marcus? If that's the case, could that jealousy have boiled over into rage?
My initial thoughts is, you know what? That New York girl, she done did something crazy.
Police identify Erica's lover and race to New York. Detectives can't help but wonder if this is the big break they're looking for. But to their surprise, when police confront Erica's girlfriend about her death, she seems genuinely shocked. Pressing her further, she denies any involvement in Erica's death and claims to have never left New York.
Well, I've been here.
You've been here
Yes, I've been here in New York.
the whole time?
Yes.
While police attempt to verify her alibi, she makes a startling confession.
How well did you know her?
I loved Erica, but me and Erica weren't exclusive. We decided to see other people, and she hasn't been here in a while.
To police, it's not the news they're expecting to hear and seems to undermine any motive on her part. A fact that's ultimately confirmed when her alibi checks out. With their investigation stymied, police decide to circle back around to the crime scene they'd encountered days earlier. Having already scoured the parking garage where Erica's body was found, detectives turn to the help of canine officers.
A bloodhound was brought in by the police department, and these dogs are specifically trained to follow scents.
Using scents from items found inside her car, the dog takes off. But to their surprise, it doesn't lead its handler away from the scene, but straight back to Erica's apartment building.
The Fairfax County dog was able to follow the trail of blood from the parking spot through the parking lot to the door to the apartment complex, but loses the scent.
But why would Erica's killer return to the original crime scene?
Only residents typically can get in and out of the building, and that leads police to believe this person is likely a resident of this building.
Could someone in Erica's own complex really be behind this terrible crime? As police dig deeper, they discover a shocking new clue, along with a lover who's harboring a very deep secret. "22-year-old Erica Yancey believed she had the world at her fingertips. A baggage handler for Delta Airlines, she had a great job, a second family, and a lover in New York.
She was just ready to live life.
But that life came to a terrible end when police found Erica savagely stabbed to death in the back seat of her new car.
The person that did this to this victim was angry, was more like in a jealous rage. They wanted this person out of their life permanently.
At first, investigators suspect Erica's girlfriend in New York might have murdered her out of jealousy. But the woman has an airtight alibi. With the assailant still at large, investigators turn their attention back to Erica's vehicle, where a bloodhound provides them with one very curious clue.
The dog starts at where Erica's body is found with the car and traces the trail back to the apartment complex.
This seems like someone who's very familiar with this building is involved in this.
But who? With more than 200 units in the sprawling apartment complex, detectives know they have their work cut out for them. But before they start knocking on too many doors, detectives receive a call from their CSI team. They found something in the dumpster besides Erica's belongings.
There was clothing that they found that had blood on it.
There was a worn tank top, some commonly referred to as time as a wife beater. There was blue jeans, gloves, and 2 ski masks.
The gloves in the trash had Erica's blood on them, and that also had unknown DNA.
Finding 2 sets of gloves and masks means 2 people could be involved in this brutal attack. This revelation prompts detectives to pay another visit to the pair of apartment residents closest to Erica, her roommates, Ellen Parker and Marcus Williams.
These are passionate wounds. So you start looking to her. Well, she has Ellen, who's her friend. She also has Marcus, who's her friend.
Police ask the couple to come down to the station for a formal interview. Once there, detectives begin by questioning Ellen Parker.
So neither you nor Marcus had anything to do with this murder?
No.
You're hiding something.
That's when Ellen finally confesses, not to murder, but to a passionate love affair with Erica.
Initially, they were just online friends, but then that relationship blossomed into something more.
Ellen admits the relationship was unexpected, but their deep attraction for one another was undeniable.
I thought Erica loved Ellen. And from my perception, I thought Ellen loved Erica. It looked like it was a blooming love.
In fact, She says the situation had grown so steamy that Erica, not Marcus, was sleeping in the master bedroom with her.
Suddenly, Erica and Ellen are sharing the main bedroom, and Marcus is in the other bedroom.
According to Ellen, it wasn't her first affair with another woman.
Marcus and I had an agreement. He's let me do this before. I've been with women before. He hasn't ever had a problem with it, and he's fine with us having like an open relationship and me exploring what's out there.
But Ellen does admit that this lesbian liaison had gone farther than the rest.
And Ellen described a romantic night out that she and Erica had had, I think it was about 2 weeks earlier, maybe less. They had had an expensive night out at a hotel.
But when Erica and Ellen returned home from their steamy night out, they discovered someone had vandalized Erica's beloved new car.
Someone keyed her vehicle and caused her to become very upset. Was someone so hurt by the fact that now Erica and Ellen are going away on a romantic getaway so that they're gonna scratch this car?
According to Ellen, after Erica's car was keyed, the living arrangement with Marcus continued to deteriorate. And in October of 2008, Ellen decided it was time to put an end to the relationship.
Ellen told Marcus, "We're through. We're breaking up. I'm moving out. I'm taking the kids." Ellen and Erica were going to be moving in together.
Could the threat of losing his girlfriend and children to another woman have pushed Marcus over the edge?
No. Marcus loved Erica like his sister. There's no way that he could have done that.
Did Ellen know more than she was letting on? And could jealousy have eaten into her heart? During her interrogation, Ellen had admitted she was aware of Erica's other lover.
Ellen had said that she had heard a voicemail on Erica's phone about another woman.
Was there an argument just before she left? Was there some kind of a dispute between them? They had to consider Ellen a person of interest.
But Ellen remains adamant neither she nor Marcus had anything to do with Erica's death. While police check out Ellen's alibi that she was at work, they turn up the heat on Marcus Williams.
How did you feel about your girlfriend running off with another woman?
Well, it didn't really make me happy.
But Marcus asserts he's no killer. He claims that when Erica went missing, he was at home watching his kids.
Sir, it's like I told you guys earlier. There's no possible way I could have been anywhere else. I swear, man, I'm innocent.
While police certainly have their suspicions, they have no hard evidence on which to hold either Marcus or Ellen. Still, they swab them both for DNA in case they are able to link them to the crime scene. And after confirming Ellen's alibi, police released them that afternoon.
Ellen was at work, and that was quickly substantiated by the police. She was at work that morning.
The police are definitely keeping an eye on Marcus, and they had, at this point, interviewed him extensively. They've taken his DNA, and they know where he is.
While Marcus maintains his innocence, Erica's family prepares to lay her to rest.
After Erica's body was found, they did hold a memorial service for her, and 100 people showed up to pay tribute to her.
Among the throng of mourners are Ellen Parker and Marcus Williams. Marcus remains low-key and respectful, but after viewing Erica's body, Ellen loses it.
Ellen was, oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't know who had did this. And, you know, maybe they're after me and I got to get away, and she was crying.
Shortly after the funeral, although Ellen and Erica had been an item, Marcus and Ellen reconnect and move to Michigan with Ellen's mother.
Without any evidence tying Marcus to the crime, police are powerless to stop the couple from moving. They vow to Erica's family they won't stop until the crime is solved. But months pass with no new developments. Then on September 21st, 2009, there's a shocking break in the case.
Michael Thomas is arrested and charged with murder.
The announcement leaves Erica's friends and family stunned.
I was like, who is Michael Thomas, and what does Michael Thomas have to do with any of this?
Who is this mystery man? And what role had he allegedly played in this crime? That answer is about to come to light, and the truth is far more twisted than anyone could ever believe. September 1st, 2009. 10 months after Erica Yancey was slashed to death with a box cutter, police make a surprise arrest in the case. 27-year-old Maryland resident, Michael Thomas.
There was a significant amount of evidence that was found in the dumpster in the apartment building in the garage. The DNA found inside the gloves belonged to Michael.
It's enough evidence to charge Michael with the crime, but detectives are still curious about his connection to the victim. Unfortunately, Erica's family is at a loss.
I knew nothing about Michael Thomas. We didn't know anything about Michael Thomas.
And as police dig deeper into his background, an unlikely picture of the alleged perpetrator begins to emerge.
Michael Thomas was kind of a geeky, nerdy, church-going, all the good things that people want to say about their child. So he went to school, got an education, came back, got a job, taught for a year as a teacher.
Very even-tempered, mild-mannered. I've never seen him angry, never seen him out of control.
While Michael doesn't exactly fit the profile of a killer, the background check turns up something else. According to his friends and family, Michael doesn't live in Erica's apartment complex, but he knows someone that did. Marcus Williams.
Michael Thomas was Marcus's friend. He didn't live in this area, but he came to town and was visiting, and they spent Saturday night together watching a UFC pay-per-view fight at their apartment.
Investigators also learned that the night before Erica's attack, Marcus invited Michael Thomas to spend the night at his apartment.
Michael Thomas was there, and he slept on the couch that night, or appeared to be asleep on the couch when Ellen and Erica left for work that morning.
To detectives, the timing seems more than coincidental and suggests not only that Michael Thomas was involved in Erica's murder, but Marcus Williams might have been too. That theory is supported when the results of DNA tests on Erica's clothes come back from the lab.
When the DNA tests came back, it showed that Marcus's DNA was on a number of these bloody clothing items that had Erica's blood on them.
24 hours later, police arrest Marcus in Michigan and extradite him back to Virginia for the murder of his former roommate, Erica Yancey.
I was shocked that it was who it was. I kept saying, why did they do it? Why did they kill her like that? Why?
With neither suspect talking and their trials scheduled for separate dates, those answers don't become clear until April 30th, 2010. That day, Marcus Williams is led into a Fairfax County courtroom to stand trial for first-degree murder.
When I went to the trial and I saw Marcus standing right by me, he looked like any other normal, dressed well person. You know, you wouldn't picture him as someone who would kill somebody.
But prosecutors believe they've got the right man. In their opening arguments, they assert Marcus had grown increasingly bitter about his girlfriend Ellen Parker's sexual relationship with Erica Yancey.
Ellen and Erica move into the same bedroom, and Marcus moves into another bedroom. And Ellen and Erica become the couple of the house.
Your significant other, the mother of your children, come in and another woman come puts you out of your room, out of your bed. That's a slap in the face for most men.
Prosecutors say the last straw came in October 2008, when Ellen told Marcus she was leaving him for Erica once and for all. They assert that on November 16th, Marcus enlisted the help of his friend, Michael Thomas. After Erica dropped Ellen off at work, Marcus and Michael donned masks and gloves and set out to remove Erica from Marcus's life for good.
It was jealousy. He felt that she was taking his family from him.
Leaving his and Ellen's children alone in the apartment, Marcus and Michael ambushed Erica not far from her car. As Erica struggled to break free from her attackers, one of them pulled out a box cutter and slashed her throat.
They killed her, put her body in the car, threw all of the evidence in the local dumpster. And then they drove her body off about a half mile away from where she lived.
With all the evidence hidden away, the two then walked back to Marcus's apartment.
Marcus wanted Erica out of there because he had been, kicked to the curb. by Ellen, so the motive presumably was to get Erica out of the picture and so that Marcus could reunite this family.
To bolster that theory, prosecutors highlight the slew of physical evidence that points to Marcus's guilt. The state's DNA findings, the scent trail leading back to the apartment, and last but not least, a surprise piece of evidence some intrepid CSIs found in the parking garage not far from the pool of blood.
But they found a lot of bleach. And to investigators, when you find bleach on a crime scene like that, you know someone there has been trying to clean up or get rid of evidence.
It had to be somebody in the building because of the bleach.
One would have to reasonably conclude Marcus had to have been the person who committed this horrible act.
But Marcus's defense team argues otherwise, highlighting the lack of eyewitnesses or any surveillance footage tying him to Erica's murder. To bolster that assertion, they call Erica's former lover, Ellen Parker, to the stand.
Ellen said, I don't think Marcus could have done this. Marcus isn't like that. Erica and Marcus got along very well, and pointed out that after the homicide, Ellen and Marcus got back together and lived together with their children again.
For Erica's friends and family listening in the courtroom, the testimony, along with Ellen's decision to stand by Marcus, strikes as the ultimate betrayal.
I think Ellen used Erica. I think that Erica to Ellen was just a meal ticket that she could manipulate. She was young and dumb, and this was somebody that she could just use.
While Ellen's testimony seems to undermine the state's case, defense attorneys still have one major hurdle to overcome: Marcus's DNA found on the bloody clothing. But his attorneys believe they can explain away that evidence.
Erica sometimes wore men's clothes, and she sometimes wore Marcus's clothes, which is why the defense said Marcus's DNA would be on clothing worn by Erica, including the bloody clothing.
The defense has made a powerful argument, but after 6 days of grueling testimony, is it enough to sway the jury? The answer to that question is about to send a jolt right through the courtroom.
For us, it was not a matter of whether or not he was guilty. It was whether or not the jury was going to find him guilty.
In a Fairfax County courtroom, prosecutors have argued that with the help of his friend, Michael Thomas, a jealous Marcus Williams killed his ex-girlfriend's lesbian lover, Erica Yancey, in an effort to get his family back together.
And in his mind at the time, that was the only way he could get away with Ellen, is to get rid of Erica.
Prosecutors claim DNA evidence found on bloody clothing implicates both Marcus and Michael in the twisted crime. It's a contention Marcus's defense team has fought hard to dispute throughout the trial.
The defense lawyers for Marcus pointed out that they all lived together, so they're just by being in the same house and doing the laundry, the DNA could have mixed.
It's certainly a plausible theory, but will the jury buy it? On May 5th, 2010, after hours of deliberation, they return with Marcus's verdict: guilty.
The range for murder one is 20 years to life in Virginia, and they gave him the minimum, 20 years.
Felt great when they said 20 years. Wish it would have been more.
Less than 2 weeks later, on May 17th, 2010, alleged co-conspirator Michael Thomas's murder trial gets underway. Michael's friends and family still can't believe the charges levied against this seemingly straight-laced, even-tempered young man.
Just seems so out of character. This was just the last thing on earth that you would ever have thought about Michael Thomas.
But once the trial's underway, there's no refuting the physical evidence squarely placing Michael at the scene.
Why would his DNA be on the inside of a glove that has blood on it? Unless he had those gloves on at one time.
The jury agrees, and on June 1st, they hand down a similar verdict and sentence to the one imposed on Marcus Williams: 20 years in prison.
They really should have stayed in jail for the rest of their life. Erica can't come home, and neither should they.
But in a case where so much pain still lingers, many wonder if this heartache could have been avoided if Marcus hadn't let his jealousy get the best of him.
To even be able to handle this, you just have to take all of these little memories and all of these things that happened during the trial and how horrible it was, and put it in a box and put it away.
I wrote the letter to Marcus, and I told him I forgave him. He let Satan use him, and I feel bad that he did. I sent a picture of Erica in the letter. I said you could look at her every day and know what you did to her for no reason.
The man he had been working for, the man who had just treated John McKenzie, was not Gerald Barnes. The investigation that followed unraveled a lie of staggering proportions. The man at the clinic was actually Gerald Barnbaum, a former pharmacist from Chicago. Barnbaum wasn't a doctor. He was a failed actor and a convicted fraudster who had been caught in a Medicaid scam years earlier, when his pharmacy license was revoked. Barnbaum didn't reflect or repent. He simply decided to play a bigger role. He moved to California, changed a few letters of his name, and borrowed the identity of a real doctor. He had called the medical board, claimed he lost his license, and they, without a single background check, sent him a duplicate. He had spent years seeing 30 to 40 patients a day. He had diagnosed illnesses, performed exams, and prescribed narcotics. He had lived a life of prestige, earning a high salary and the respect of his community, all while operating on the medical knowledge of a high school student and a few years of pharmacy school. He was an actor, investigator Eddie Banks would later say, and the clinic was his stage. Every patient was an audience member, and his performance was so good that even the experts didn't look behind the curtain. On August 8, 1980, the curtain finally fell. Gerald Barnbaum was arrested. He didn't look like a killer. He looked like a likable little guy who had made a mistake. But the state of California didn't see a mistake. They saw manslaughter. Chapter 4, The Interstate Shadow. While Gerald Barnbaum was beginning his first prison stint several states away, another man was discovering the thrill of the mask. David Brinkle did not look like a bank robber. He was impeccably dressed, often in custom-tailored suits that suggested a man of significant means. He was an entrepreneur, a consultant, a visionary. In the small, close-knit town of Bloomington, Indiana, he was the kind of man people wanted to be around. Phil Sperry, a local businessman, was one of them. He was smooth, Phil remembered. He had an answer for everything. He rented an office from us, claimed he was starting an architectural and construction firm called ACR. He talked about big projects, city planning, the future. But David Brankel's future wasn't built on blueprints and bricks. It was built on the interstate. Brankel lived a life of compartmentalized geography. In one town, he was the devoted father and husband. In another, he was the dashing boyfriend to a waitress named Donna. And on the highways that connected them, he was the interstate bankmart bandit. His method was a masterpiece of efficiency. He didn't hit the massive, high-security banks in city centers. He targeted the small branches inside grocery stores and bankmarts. They were usually staffed by younger, less experienced tellers. They were located near major highway on-ramps. He would walk in, often wearing a fishing hat or a simple pair of tan coveralls. He didn't shout. He didn't wave a gun. He would slide a note across the counter. I have a gun. Be quiet. Go home alive. He would be in and out in less than 90 seconds. By the time the police were dispatched, Brankel would be back on the I-65 or the I-70, his black BMW cruising at the speed limit, the stolen cash tucked away in a designer briefcase. I think the guy I'm looking for is doing the exact same thing I'm doing. Detective Larry Duncan would later muse. Duncan was the man tasked with catching him. I was sitting at my computer, looking at maps of grocery stores near interstates. And on the other side of the screen, in some hotel room or rented office, David Brankel was doing the same thing. It was a game of digital chess played across state lines. Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee. Brankel was a ghost who left no fingerprints and no trail except for the pattern of his robberies. Chapter 5. The Two-Way Mirror. By the mid-90s, Gerald Barnbaum was out of prison. He had served his time for the death of John Mackenzie, but the prison walls hadn't changed him. They had only refined his craft. While incarcerated, he had taken medical correspondence courses. He had studied the language of healing so he could more effectively poison the truth. He stepped out of the prison gates and immediately stepped back into a lab coat. This time, he found Lisa Roberts. He was the perfect husband, Lisa said, her voice trembling with the ghost of a memory. Flowers, dinners, concerts. He swept me off my feet. He was Dr. Gerald Barnes, the medical director of a high-end clinic in Los Angeles. He made 6 figures. We were going to have children. We were going to build a life. For over a year, Lisa shared a bed with a man whose name she didn't know. She watched him leave for work every morning, his stethoscope draped around his neck like a badge of honor. She attended company functions where other doctors sought his advice. Even the FBI used his clinic for their agent physicals. Think of the irony. 100 FBI agents trained to spot deception, stripped down to their underwear, and let an imposter listen to their hearts. The mask was perfect until the Christmas party of 1996. Rick D'Alessandro was there. Fate, it seems, has a sense of dark humor. Rick was attending the same industry event. He was checking in at the desk when he saw a man across the room. A likable little guy with a familiar smile. Rick looked at the man's lapel. The name tag read, "Hi, I'm Dr. Barnes." The blood drained from Rick's face. "You've got to be kidding me," he whispered. He walked over. The music was playing something festive and bright. The air smelled of expensive cologne and champagne. "Hi, Rick," the imposter said, not missing a beat. His voice was as cool as the ice in his drink. "How are you doing?" "Well, Gerald," Rick replied, his voice shaking with fury. "I'm not doing too well. Because you're doing the same thing you did in the 70s. You're a fraud." Barnbaum didn't panic. He didn't run. He leaned in, his eyes soft and pleading. Rick, you don't understand. This is all just a big mistake. I can go home and get the paperwork. I can prove everything. Then go get it, the clinic supervisor said, having overheard the exchange. Barnbaum walked out the door. He didn't go home for paperwork. He went into the night, disappearing into the neon labyrinth of Los Angeles. But the FBI was no longer his patient. They were his hunters. Chapter 6, The Art of the Escape. David Brankel was also beginning to feel the heat. It was 2003, and the IBM Task Force, a coalition of detectives from multiple states, was closing in. They had a nickname for him now, IBM. They had a photo of his car, a black BMW. They had a theory about his home base in Indiana. They even had a name for their trap, Operation Intercept. On September 6, 2003, Brankel hit his 35th bank. He walked into a U.S. bank in Louisville, slid his note, and took the cash. The police radio crackled to life. Operation Intercept. Operation Intercept. Detectives flooded the highways. They pulled over every black BMW they saw. They searched trunks, checked IDs, and waited for the bandit to fall into their lap. But David Brankel was smarter than the average thief. He didn't take the interstate. He knew the police would be watching the veins of the city, so he took the back roads, the winding rural paths where the only witnesses were the cornfields and the crows. He slipped through the news, listening to the police scanner in his car, a smug smile on his face. He was listening to us, Detective Duncan said. He was one step ahead because he had no conscience to slow him down. Brankel returned to his safe zone. In Vincennes, he was a consultant for the Logan family, who were building a pet store empire. He sat at their dinner table, played with their children, and took their money for consultation fees. He was God's gift to us, Peggy Logan said, or so we thought. At the same time, Brankel was maintaining his relationship with Donna. She was now his getaway driver. They were the modern Bonnie and Clyde, fueled by a mixture of narcissism and high-octane gasoline. My mother said I couldn't even mow the lawn right. Brankel told Donna during one of their long drives. But look at me now. I'm the most successful bank robber in history. He wasn't robbing for the money anymore. He was robbing to prove that the mask was realer than the man. Chapter 7, The Collapse. The end of a lie is rarely a grand explosion. It is usually a series of small, pathetic cracks. For Gerald Barnbaum, the crack was a bus ticket. After being caught again in 1996, he had been sentenced to 12.5 years. But in 2000, while being transferred between facilities, the system made a fatal error. Because he was a low-security inmate, a nonviolent fraudster in their eyes, they gave him a bus ticket and told him to report to a prison in Illinois. He didn't go to Illinois. He went back to the only life he knew. He ended up in a North Hollywood clinic, wearing a white coat and a stethoscope, seeing patients under the name Gerald Barnes. When U.S. Marshals finally tracked him down, they walked into the clinic and called out his real name, Gerald Barnbaum. The man in the white coat turned around. He didn't fight. He didn't try to explain. He just looked at the handcuffs and sighed. "You guys are good," he said. For David Brankel, the end came on a cold December day in 2003. He was driving his BMW in Bloomington when he nearly hit a car driven by an off-duty detective named Kevin Hill. It was a routine traffic stop that turned into a 100-mile-an-hour chase. Brankel disregarded stop signs, drove into oncoming traffic, and eventually left the police in the dust. But he had dropped his driver's license. The police went to his home in Vincennes. They found him trying to flee with his son in the car. He abandoned the vehicle and ran on foot, a small knife in his pocket, tripping over a curb in a maze of apartment buildings. When the handcuffs clicked shut, the entrepreneur was gone. The consultant was gone. All that was left was a tired, 46-year-old man who had robbed 43 banks and had nothing to show for it but a suitcase full of disguises. Epilogue: The Empty Room. In the end, what remains of a man who spent his life being someone else? Gerald Barnbaum is in a federal prison in Minnesota. He is in his 70s now. The real Dr. Gerald Barnes, the orthopedic surgeon from Stockton, still deals with the wreckage of his stolen identity. It's a headache that never goes away, he says. David Brankel is serving 21 years. The Logans and the Sperrys never got their money back. Donna, the Bonnie to his Clyde, received house arrest. The victims aren't just the people who lost money or the families who lost loved ones like John Mackenzie. The victims are the very concepts of trust and truth. We look at the man in the white coat. We look at the businessman in the suit. We want to believe that the clothes make the man. But as Rick D'Alessandro learned in a quiet clinic in 1979, sometimes the clothes are just a costume, and the man underneath is just a ghost, searching for a face that was never his to begin with. Shadows of the Stolen Soul. The Architecture of Deceit. Prologue, The Mirror's Lie. In the quiet, suburban sprawl of late 70s California, identity was a currency that few thought to verify. People were who they said they were. A handshake was a contract, and a white lab coat was an altar. Gerald Barnbaum understood this better than anyone. He didn't just want to be a doctor. He wanted the reverence of being one. He wanted the hush that fell over a room when he entered, the way people leaned in to hear his pronouncements, and the steady, unquestioned flow of authority. He was an actor who had found his ultimate stage, and the patients were an audience who paid with their lives. Miles away, and years later, David Brankel would find a different stage. His was the concrete ribbons of the American interstate system, the fluorescent-lit aisles of grocery store banks, and the desperate adrenaline of a man who believed his own lies. This is the story of two men who refused to be themselves, and the trail of broken lives they left in their wake. Part 1, The Cost of a Coat. Chapter 1, The Performance Begins. The Pacific Southwest Medical Group in Orange County smelled of antiseptic and misplaced trust. It was 1978, and the sun baked the asphalt outside. But inside, the air-conditioned cool offered a sanctuary for the sick. Rick D'Alessandro, a young and earnest physician's assistant, looked up as Dr. Gerald Barnes entered the clinic. Barnes was a likable little guy, as Rick would later recall. He had a quick wit, a disarming smile, and an energy that seemed to say, "I have everything under control." "Good morning, Rick," the doctor chirped, snapping a chart into his clipboard. Another day, another miracle to perform. Rick smiled back, unaware that he was watching a master class in theater. Gerald Barnbaum, the man inside the coat, was a pharmacist from Chicago who had lost his license in a Medicaid scam. But here, under the golden California sun, he was reborn. He had called the medical board, claimed to be a certain Dr. Gerald Barnes from Stockton, and requested a duplicate license. They had sent it without a second thought. For years, Barnbaum played the part. He saw 30, sometimes 40 patients a day. He diagnosed, he prescribed, he consoled. He was elevated to medical director. He was a pillar of the community. But beneath the stethoscope, there was a hollow space where medical knowledge should have been. He wasn't practicing medicine, he was mimicking it. Chapter 2, The Diabetic Ghost. December 26, 1979, the day after Christmas. The world was in a sugar-coated haze, but John Mackenzie felt like he was burning from the inside out. He was 29 years old, a father to a 4-year-old girl named Jill, and he was dying. He walked into the clinic with a thirst that no amount of water could quench. His eyes sunken, his breath smelling faintly of fermented fruit. I'm so tired, Doc," Mackenzie whispered, leaning against the examination table. "Dizzy. My mouth is like a dessert." Barnbaum, the man Mackenzie knew as Dr. Barnes, looked at him with professional concern. He didn't see a patient in an acute ketoacidotic crisis. He saw a nuisance on a busy morning. He performed a cursory exam, noted the dizziness, and reached for his prescription pad. Anivert, Barnbaum said, scribbling the name of an anti-vertigo drug. It's probably just a viral inner ear thing. Get some rest, John. We'll run some blood work just to be safe. John Mackenzie left the clinic clutching a piece of paper that might as well have been a death warrant. The next day, the lab results arrived. Rick D'Alessandro was the first to see them. He stared at the numbers, his heart hammering against his ribs. Blood glucose, 1,200 milligrams DL. A normal level was 100. At 1,200, the blood becomes thick, acidic, and toxic. It is a medical emergency of the highest order. Where's Barnes? Rick shouted, looking around the clinic. He's got the day off, a nurse replied. Rick didn't wait. He grabbed the phone, calling Mackenzie's home, his ex-wife, anyone. Silence. Finally, he called the Garden Grove police. When the officers kicked in the door of Mackenzie's apartment, they found him on the kitchen floor. He was cold. In his hand, he still held the prescription for dizziness. He had died in a coma, a victim of a common, treatable disease and an uncommon, lethal fraud. Chapter 3, The Unmasking. The death of a 29-year-old was a tragedy. The negligence behind it was a crime. Rick D'Alessandro couldn't let it go. How could a doctor, a medical director, miss a blood sugar of 1,200? He called the medical board in Sacramento. I need the file on Dr. Gerald Barnes, he said, the one working in Orange County. A few hours later, the fax machine groaned to life. Rick watched as the grainy image of the real Dr. Gerald Barnes emerged. It was a man from Stockton, an older man, an orthopedic surgeon, a man who looked nothing like the likable little guy in the office next door. The realization hit Rick like a physical blow. He wasn't working for a bad doctor. He was working for a ghost. On August 8th, 1980, the charade ended. The police arrived not for a consultation, but for an arrest. Gerald Barnbaum was charged with practicing medicine without a license and, more significantly, manslaughter. It was a Medicaid scam in Chicago that started it. Investigator Eddie Banks noted as they dug into the past. Barnbaum was a failed pharmacist and a frustrated actor. He had combined his two greatest failures to create a deadly success. In 1981, Barnbaum pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 3 years. To the family of John Mackenzie, it felt like an insult. Their father was gone, replaced by a 3-year vacation for the man who killed him. But for Barnbaum, prison was just an intermission. Chapter 4, The Relapse of Identity. Identity theft is an addiction. Some people crave drugs. Gerald Barnbaum craved the title of doctor. Released after 18 months, he didn't go back to pharmacy or theater. He went back to the lab coat. He changed cities, moved to Los Angeles, and applied for jobs using the same stolen credentials. In 1996, he was living a dream. He was married to a woman named Lisa Roberts. He was a 6-figure medical director. He was romantic, charming, and supposedly brilliant. I didn't know his real name. Lisa would later sob to investigators. I didn't know his real age. The man I shared my bed with was a stranger. The end came at an industry Christmas party. In a scene straight out of a thriller, Barnbaum bumped into an old acquaintance, Rick D'Alessandro. Rick looked at the man's lapel. "Hi, I'm Dr. Barnes." "Hello, Gerald," Rick said, his voice cold as ice. "I see you're still doing the same thing you did in the 70s. Barnbaum didn't blink. "Rick, good to see you. You must be mistaken. This is all a big misunderstanding." He promised to go home and get his documentation. Instead, he vanished. But the FBI was already closing in. Special Agent Marie Kinjofsky discovered that Barnbaum had even performed physicals for over 100 FBI agents. The irony was suffocating. This time, the judge was done. Barnbaum was sentenced to 12.5 years. Even then, he wasn't finished. During a low-security transfer in 2000, he was given a bus ticket to report to a new facility. He never got on the bus. Instead, He went to North Hollywood, put on a white coat, and started seeing patients again. When the U.S. Marshals finally cornered him in a clinic, he was wearing a stethoscope. He looked at them and simply said, "You guys are good." Gerald Barnbaum, the man who couldn't stop being someone else, was finally sent away for good, leaving behind a legacy of $5 million in fraud and one empty chair at John Mackenzie's Thanksgiving table. Part 2, The Interstate Phantom. Chapter 5, The Smooth Operator. While Barnbaum was a parasite of the medical world, David Brankel was a predator of the interstates. He appeared in Bloomington, Indiana, in 1999 like a character out of a Gatsby novel. He was impeccably dressed, smooth-talking, and carried the aura of a man who moved millions. He rented an office from Phil and Bonnie Sperry, claiming his company, ACR, was a powerhouse in architecture and construction. He always had the right answer, Phil Sperry recalled. He was cool. He was smooth. Brankel was a master of the long con. He didn't just rob you. He made you feel privileged to be robbed. He convinced Bonnie Sperry to start an interior design firm called Trade Secrets. He used their name to open house accounts at high-end clothing stores, racking up $8,000 in suits because he believed a man's worth was measured in the thread count of his lapels. When the Sperrys finally caught on, Brankel didn't apologize. He packed his bags, took his wife and young son, and moved to Vincennes, Indiana. He had a new mark, Alan and Becky Logan, owners of a local pet store. He sold them a dream of a family entertainment complex called Logan's Great Escape. He showed them brochures, timetables, and contracts for a company called Vanguard Capital Marketing Group. Maybe this was God's gift to us, Becky Logan thought at the time. It wasn't. It was a $3,500 retainer and a $500 a month drain on their hard-earned savings. Brankel would even bring his young son to collect the checks, using the child as a human shield of legitimacy. Chapter 6, The IBM Bandit. But the consulting fees weren't enough to fund Brankel's dual life. While he was a businessman in Vincennes from Sunday to Wednesday, he was someone else from Thursday to Saturday. He would drive to Bloomington to see a girlfriend named Donna Hewins, a waitress at a topless bar. And together, they would go to work. Brankel's work was the Interstate Bank Mart IBM robberies. He was a creature of habit and efficiency. He would use his computer to map out grocery store banks near interstate exits. He would walk in wearing a fishing hat or tan coveralls and hand a note to the teller. I have a gun. Be calm. Both drawers. Be quiet. Go home alive. He never showed a weapon. He never shouted. He was as professional in his robberies as he was in his scams. Detective Larry Duncan in Louisville was the first to see the pattern. He's doing the exact same thing I'm doing. Duncan realized, staring at a map of the highways. He's using the interstates as a getaway grid. Between 2002 and 2003, Brankel hit 43 banks in 6 states. He was a ghost on the asphalt, always slipping away before the sirens reached the parking lot. Chapter 7. Operation Intercept. The task force crew, Duncan, Schley, and Freihofer, a trio of lawmen determined to catch the man they called IBM. They caught a break in Lexington, Kentucky. A surveillance camera caught a grainy image of a black BMW 7 Series. It was a luxury car, a businessman's car, and it had a driver, a blonde woman. Donna Hewins had become the Bonnie to his Clyde. Duncan devised Operation Intercept. He flooded the interstates with 1,200 officers. They waited. On September 6, 2003, Brankel hit a bank in Louisville. Operation Intercept. The radio screamed. But Brankel was listening. He had a scanner. He heard the panic in the police voices, the rush to the highways. He took the back roads. He slipped through the noose. We've blown it, Duncan whispered into his radio as the sun set. He's gone. Chapter 8. The Fall. Fate, however, has a way of punishing hubris. In December 2003, David Brankel was driving his black BMW through Bloomington. He was speeding, reckless, fueled by the invincibility of 43 successful heists. He nearly ran a car off the road. That car was driven by Detective Kevin Hill. When Hill pulled the BMW over, the driver's license didn't match the plates. The plates were stolen. "Show me your hands," Hill shouted, his gun drawn. Brankel looked at the officer. He didn't see a threat. He saw a nuisance. "We're okay," he said calmly, then slammed the car into drive. The chase reached 100 miles per hour. Brankel escaped again, but he left behind a fatal error: his real Indiana driver's license. The end came in Vincennes. The Indiana State Police surrounded his home. Brankel tried to flee on foot, abandoning his young son in the car. He tripped on a curb in an apartment complex, falling face first into the grass. As the handcuffs clicked shut, a small knife fell from his pocket. "I wasn't going to stab you," Brankel pleaded. "It just fell out." In the trunk of his BMW, they found the history of a career criminal: suitcases of disguises, a 9mm handgun, and notes on banks across the Midwest. Chapter 9: The Interrogation. For 6 hours, David Brankel talked. He told the investigators everything. He spoke about his first robbery, about Donna's involvement, about his mother's disapproval. He was a sociopath who blamed the world for his choices, yet he wanted the credit for his crimes. "Call the Louisville Metro," he told the officers with a twisted sense of pride. "They'll know who I am. I'm the IBM Bandit." He was sentenced to 21 years. Donna Hewins received house arrest and probation. The $175,000 in restitution was ordered, but for the Sperrys and the Logans, the money was gone, dissolved into the gas and suits of a man who lived a life built on air. Epilogue: The Masquerade's End. Gerald Barnbaum and David Brankel were two sides of the same counterfeit coin. One stole a life to heal, the other stole a life to spend. Both were convinced that they were more than the men they were born to be. They looked in the mirror and saw a doctor, a developer, a master thief. But as the cell doors slammed shut, the costumes were stripped away. The lab coat was gone. The BMW was sold at auction. All that remained were the records of their crimes and the quiet, enduring pain of the people they had fooled. In the end, you can change your name, your job, and your car. You can map out every interstate and memorize every medical text. But you can never outrun the person you see when the lights go out. The masquerade was over. The shadows were finally forced into the light. The architecture of deception. A saga of masks, mirrors, and the men who lived within them. Prologue, the weight of a name. Names are supposed to be anchors. They are the first gifts we receive and the last things carved into stone when we depart. But for some, a name is merely a garment, a coat to be stolen, a hat to be exchanged, a mask to be worn until the elastic snaps. In the sun-drenched sprawl